If you could give yourself one advice, back then when you were starting out your career, what advice would it be? I was asking this some of the brightest producers, thinkers and talents from creative industry at the Movo Festival in Prague, organized by Oficina Studio. Movo is an amazing festival focused on motion graphics, combining graphic design, video, animation, special effects and new technologies. A meeting place for great thinkers, producers and talents from all around the world. And I have been asking these guys three interesting questions. If you could give yourself one advice, back then when you were starting out your career, what advice would it be?
My name is Ryan Honey and I'm the Executive Creative Director of Buck in Los Angeles. I would tell myself that I should trust my instincts better. I would tell myself, trust that doing good work will bring success and not worry about taking risks. I think that almost all of my success has come from taking very large risks, and I, for many years, was hesitant to do so until it was entirely necessary. If you make good work, clients will come.
My name is Carlos Pardo and I'm 50% of the Bain. I think the best advice is always don't be afraid of failing, as we said. I think it's very important to try things, especially when you're starting, and it's very, very important to forget about your fears and try to make things, and it's easy. It's just that you need to do it. It's not a matter of being super talented or whatever, it's just that you need to do the stuff. Like for us it worked and it ended up making sense, and the work came in and we started having clients and we started working with people because we were not scared of saying yes to some things.
So my name is Esteo Guillem. I'm also half of the band. So if I think in when we started, I think even if sometimes we did some things that were wrong, I think these wrong things were giving us some knowledge, or we were learning from these fails. I think I will make the same I did in this time, because even if sometimes we took the wrong projects, you never know when this project is going to be good or not, success or fail. And we have been always trying to look for the good points of these projects and try to take the good thing. I mean, we were learning through their work.
So I'm Mike Sharp. I'm the founding partner and creative director of Found Studio. The advice I would give myself back when I was starting out is to not take it too seriously. Have fun. It's supposed to be fun. I used to be very serious about the stuff we made, and that's good. But I think you gotta have fun in this business. Got to enjoy it, and because it shows in the work. And also to be brave. And we've always been brave, but I think there's a tendency to compare yourself to other people and think they're better than you. But actually, they're not that far away, and you can do just as good of things as other people.
I'm Will McNeil. I'm a CG design director at a company called The Mill. If I had to give myself one bit of advice from back to me when I was starting out with my career, I think it would be to just keep pursuing those crazy ideas. Don't think that anything is too silly or too out there. Really go after the stuff that interests you, and try new things as often as you can.
My name is Manuel Casasola Merkle. I am a German graphic designer, and I'm running a design studio in Munich called Ike Sponsor. As a side project, I'm running the e-learning website entagma.com together with my colleague Moritz Schwind. Advice to myself, well, I think I would tell myself to not bother and not to be anxious, but just to do what I want to do, because Yeah, it's always a good idea to just try doing stuff and starting new projects and connecting people, and it's never bad to do something. It's always bad to skip ideas and to be timid and anxious and stay at home.
I'm Jonas, I'm a creative technologist working at the London-based studio Field. You know, if you want a short and cheesy answer, then I would say think less and do more, just like do experiments, get your stuff out, show it to people, and just, you know, like try all the stuff you're interested in, because you learn a lot by doing. I guess it is really important to figure out the quality of your skills. You need to be at the precise knowledge of how good you are and what you can do, because in some situations you're going to feel, okay, there's somebody I'm working with and he's better than me, so definitely everything he is doing is right and everything I'm doing is maybe not right and wrong. And you have to figure out in what situations that is true and what situations that is not true. So when you can stand your ground and when you step back.
If I would give someone who's just starting out in the industry advice about what they should think about and consider, I think first off, time is limited, so you need to have intent with everything you focus on. Like, I think that's one of the key aspects. A lot of people, when I went to school, kind of started learning reel flow, and they were trying to cut show reels, even though we like barely had any content. And to me, that didn't really make sense. I thought that it was much smarter to kind of try to learn things that you would have be able to exploit on a daily basis, so more generic and like versatile tools, or like the bow graph module in cinema or whatever. So whenever I put time on to learn something, I made sure that it's something that I'm going to be using on a daily basis, and not just because I was interested in it. So because a lot of people just started looking at reel flow, as I said, and they were like, everyone was making liquid, and after a few months at school we have 2 months left or whatever, and then everyone had just made a bunch of liquid, and it's like the world is way more complicated than that. And the reality is that when you end up on a job, you're going to have to be able to execute a variety of tasks, especially as a motion designer, where you're expected to be a director, a compositor, a 3D artist, editor, like in some cases software engineer as well. So you kind of like need to focus your time and efforts, and it is also very stressful when you're like first starting out, because there's so much to learn. So I think it's very important to kind of don't get stressed, and like just decide, this week I'm going to learn everything about shading, or anything about modeling, or whatever it might be, or animating, and just focus on that. Don't get distracted with the other things that you're interested in, such as texturing or lighting or rendering or whatever. If you're just wanting to improve your animation skills, then take a week of just animating boxes around. It doesn't matter. I think that would be my best advice. And then, you know, don't worry about the rest. It will kind of fall into place. And also, one more thing, I guess. It doesn't take much to be considered an expert in a subject, because people in general are very mediocre. So, because we're lazy, like in general. So all you have to do is put in a little bit more effort, and you'll be fine. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm Alice. I'm the studio manager and a producer at Field in London. If I could give myself one advice, I would say the journey is not linear. You're going to go in many different directions. Take the good stuff and the bad stuff, learn from it, and move forward always.
I'm Philip. I'm working at the London studio called Field. I would say it's like, don't get too comfortable, because back in the days I had another job and I was kind of like, as I said, too comfortable with it. I had my friends there. I was paying well, but in the end I wasn't happy, and it took me way too much time to realize that, and I could have been here earlier in the end.
I'm Julian. I'm working at Field. Don't be too shy. Don't be limited by like what you know. If you want to do some stuff, just learn. Maybe don't listen too much to people, because everyone wants to give you advice about your life and your career, but I guess you're the only one who really knows what you want to do, so maybe believe in yourself a bit more.
What do you do to make your clients want to work with you?
First of all, in order to get clients, you need to create work that stands out from the crowd. And that is really about quality and about being innovative. In order to keep clients, you need the experience to be very professional from the very beginning to end through all of their interactions. You want to solve their problems and you want to make it a pleasant experience and professional all the way through. You want to create work that the clients will want to show and will want to replicate. They want to replicate the experience of collaborating with you and then also replicate the result.
One of the ways we get clients to work with us, we've realized over time, is to just create stuff outside of the commercial work that they want to plug into. So I was speaking to an agency not too long ago, and they were talking about how they want to make advertising that doesn't feel or look like advertising, and that they want to plug into creatives, be it artists, designers, musicians, filmmakers, and it really resonated with me. And so at the studio now, we create lots and lots of self-initiated briefs and projects to flex the muscles that we want to flex that maybe a commercial brief won't do. And hopefully you put that out and it becomes a beacon not only for clients that say, I want a bit of that for something that we're working on, but also a beacon for talent to come and work with us as well.
When we are doing our personal projects, we are not thinking in who is going to like these projects or which client is going to look this project and like. We try to be like free in the subjects and in the projects we are doing, and we just waiting that this project it will be successful itself and the clients will like it. They will feel that this project was done honestly. I don't know how to explain.
First of all, I try to produce really good work that they like, and hopefully they'll see that and be inspired by it. But I also try to convey to them that I really want to understand what it is they need, and try to understand what their product needs or their brand needs to help them get the word out. To understand that it's a partnership, and we want to make great work, and we want to make their work look good too.
What I try to do is I try to create good work, and I try to show the work. What is very important too is to be reliable and to hold the deadline and to be really a good partner to your client, so somebody he can rely on and who is honest with them and really tells them what's happening at the moment, even if problems arise, that you discuss them directly and immediately. The most important part to impress clients, I think, is the reliability, doing what you promise and creating good quality. That is the most important thing. And if you do that, at least for me, the clients will come.
I think it's important for anyone who's an artist to kind of make sure that they create an identity for themselves, where you have a clear message of what you're selling. So in my case, I've been trying to own this kind of abstract effects and trying to really make sure that everything that I do has a hint of that DNA, that's kind of little, whatever that might be, that makes it mine. So you have a clear identity in your visual style and in your execution. Because that way, when people look for something and they see your work, they can kind of draw that connection and you start to be associated with that content that you're creating. I think a lot of people are going and testing everything in the beginning, which is good. I think you should do that. But once you know what you kind of excel at and what you enjoy doing, it doesn't hurt to double down on it.
So my advice for young designers is present yourself really well. Learn how to work with clients. Being able to manage that process is really important and will always be important.
The cheesy answer was like just do good work, but in the end it's really like work hard, really be good in what you do and always try to learn new things.
You need to do more than what the client is asking to you. Don't just do what the client wants. Try instead to explain to him what really works.
I guess in general, really good advice is not to be an asshole.
Where do you look for inspiration?
I find it interesting when people ask where I look for inspiration, because I think any creative person really finds inspiration in everything. That is how you can be innovative. I don't think that there's anything that I don't pull inspiration from in the world, be it from the human form to fine art, to movies, to fashion, to architecture. All of these things influence me either in a way that I recognize or not.
We always try to be inspired not by the creative industry, but by things that are outside the creative industry. If you only have inspiration in blogs and things that have to do with the creative industry, then you get doing exactly the same that everybody's doing. So it's better to look somewhere else and try to see what they are doing. I mean, art, nature, whatever it is, and you will find more interesting things there.
Inspiration can come from anywhere, obviously, but you know, we live and work in one of the greatest cities in the world, in London, and you can't help but be inspired every day. You know, just going to work, you're surrounded by culture and people, and inspiration can come any time. But equally, we look at the work that's being done by lots of other people. You know, you have to be brave and you have to compare yourself to the best people in the business. And it can be scary, and you know, you think constantly, you finish a piece of work and you look at, oh, have you seen what these guys have just put out? Oh, damn, it's amazing. And you up your game, and you just constantly get inspired by that. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. You think, oh, you know, they've just moved it on another, just when you thought you got there, they've moved it on again. And so you try and keep up, and you try and innovate, and you try and, hopefully people look at the work we do and feel the same.
Inspiration, I look in a lot of places, but mostly I look out in nature. I love to be outdoors, love to walk around in the countryside. I'm really inspired just by the natural world. It also helps me relax a lot. I also look to classic painting, impressionist painting, modernist painting. I'm really inspired by the way that artists interpret things. So often in our work we're expected to make things look real, but I think actually what matters is how we interpret the world around us. So I'm really interested in the way other artists do that, and also thinking about the way I do that myself.
I look for inspiration everywhere. Nature is a big inspiration to me because I'm doing this generative art, this generative design stuff. But of course I'm looking online. I'm spending 1 to 2 hours a day online, looking at basically everything that I can find. I have my website where I daily try to find new stuff and to see what's going on. Behance, of course, and unfortunately the gorgeous Japanese website Found is no more. Don't know if you know that, but there's a lot of stuff to look at, and Instagram, and yeah, what other people are doing too. And then of course festivals like this one are very inspiring too, because you get to know work of people you might not have known before.
I'm always inspired a lot by nature and science, so I look around for scientific articles and what is going on in the press right now and on blogs and so on. But obviously I'm also inspired by a lot of visual things. So I look around what people are doing right now. I look around on Pinterest, but it can be a lot of different things. You know, sometimes you just read a headline, or sometimes you just see an image, or basically like an image going on in your head. You see like a situation somewhere in your city, something happening. So I guess I kind of draw inspiration from everywhere I go, but in general I'm really interested in how, you know, the natural and physical world comes together with the digital world.
Don't go out and look at other motion graphers. I mean, it's okay, but you will just repeat what's already there. Recently, I look a lot at robotics, how those work. I look at plant structures, biochemistry, and how that behaves. Like, I'm really interested into textures, materials, and then just try to replicate that in my, like bring that into my 3D workflow.
Maybe, yeah, one little advice is if you work in 3D and motion, everything, go into something else to find inspiration, like fine art or sculpture or books or anything different. Because right now there is like, everything kind of look the same on the internet. I think it's good to pick some stuff somewhere else, and I guess we're doing that a lot at Field.
So when it comes to inspiration, it's very different for me from project to project. But I would say in a lot of times I've been like building up over time when especially if I'm working on something really boring for a period of time, then I like start to dream about other things and like look at the internet about like emerging technologies or science or whatever it might be. Maybe watch nature programs, look at deep sea creatures or whatever it might be. It can be anything really. And it can be anything from that to like as simple as like, okay, here's a picture of an egg, and you start to imagine what would happen if we like, or that's bad. No, but you know what I mean. Like you can look at a picture and just look at the lighting of the picture, or you can look at a picture of a plant and look at the subsurface scattering in the leaves, and appreciate that, or you can appreciate the silhouette of an object against a bright background, and you can like take from all of these different things to start build a mood board, and then from this mood board you start to make connections, which things belong together, and you build a new reality based on those elements. That's basically how I approach inspiration. And then also a lot of my previous R&D kind of feeds into this as well. So I'm like, I have this reference, and then I take my current knowledge and my back catalog of tools, and I'm trying to kind of find a common ground where I have a big unknown that I can fill in, but I still have some grounded fundamental parts that I can build from on the shoulders of those discoveries.
Movo Festival is great. The community and the speakers are amazing. We are coming there next year for sure. If you are interested, check out the Movo Festival's website, and definitely check out the speakers, their projects, websites. They do amazing stuff. The links are below. I'm Adam with Mr. Horse, and see you next year at Movo.
Yeah, smash the like button and subscribe if you're not already.